What's up, G Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G Show Podcast. I am G1, and this is the Geek Out. And yeah, man, okay, we got to do it. We got to talk about it. All right? Okay, I'm by myself again. That's cool. I think the Geek Out is going to be just me by myself. I got no problem with that. I think I'm going to do that and keep it short and concise. Let's jump right into it. You know what time it is. It's box office time, and you know, being that June just ended. And June was a stacked month for blockbuster movies, at least in my eyes, in my opinion it was, with Spider-Man coming in the first week of June, Transformers the second week, The Flash the third week, then there was a lull, and then Indiana Jones to round out the month of June. And we saw success, crazy success with Spider-Man. I mean, obviously, that movie is blown people's minds away. It's a great movie. Absolutely fantastic. And so far, it might be the movie for me of the year so far. I love that movie. Then Transformers did way better than I thought it would do opening weekend. Taking down Spider-Man, which was crazy, all things considered. But it was something that I loved. It came right back, hit me in the feels with nostalgia, and made a Transformers movie where I was like, we're definitely moving away from the Michael Bay stuff. And I really appreciated that, and I really enjoyed that. Then came The Flash, and the first major disappointment of the season. I mean, one can say, well, G1, what about Shazam? That was a disappointment. Yeah, but Shazam didn't have as much riding on it as The Flash did. Shazam's really not a tentpole movie. The Flash is and isn't, but it's a spin-off of the Justice League. And yeah, Justice League sucked. The Snyderverse as a whole kind of fell apart after Man of Steel. But that Snyder Cut Justice League movie is fantastic. All 4 hours of it. I love it. But The Flash was the first major disappointment, racking in only $55 million domestically opening weekend. A complete and utter failure. It's terrible, but it is what it is. There's no way around it. I thoroughly loved the movie. I was 3 for 3 in June with the movies. Disappointed with the box office numbers? Yes, we explained why. I gave my reasons why I think it happened in previous podcasts, whether it was the cancellation of Ezra Miller or people just boycotting because, they were Henry Cavill fans and they were like, he's back. And then James Gunn was like, nope, revamping everything. And they were like, I'm not even going to go see anything then. Or people just probably don't care about The Flash. But I digress. It was a box office bomb, and that's sad because it's a fun movie. And then there came Indiana Jones, and I was like, here we go. Childhood, don't fail me now. Because I was, again, like I said, with the Transformers, it really brought me back, this nostalgic feeling. I was happy. And then I seen Indiana Jones, one of my favorite franchises. Oh. And good God almighty, people, this movie is terrible. Oh, Disney, why? Why? Oh, listen to me, bro. Indiana Jones and the Dollar Dismay? Disaster? The Disenfranchised? It's one of the two, because it sure wasn't Destiny. It sure wasn't Destiny. This movie should never have been made, ever. I know a lot of people give a lot of shit to Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls. I like that movie. I get it. I totally understand people's hate towards that movie. And I will never argue that. Okay? Personally, I had fun with it. But I implore you to say that Dial of Dickheads is better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, because it's absolutely not true. It's absolutely not true. And if you think it is, you're only fooling yourself. You're only fooling yourself. I went in with my fingers crossed. I was really hoping for one last good time with Indiana Jones. This was not it. This wasn't even Indiana Jones. Didn't even feel like Indiana Jones. It crushed me. And I'm gonna do a mildly spoilerific review, but I'm telling y'all right now, don't go waste your money if you haven't seen it already. Don't. If you're interested, find another means of watching it. Okay, there's ways you can, or just wait for it to drop on Disney Plus, because with this movie not making no money, I can't see this thing being in theaters as long as something like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like this ain't got no legs. And I'll tell you why it ain't got no legs. Because domestically this weekend, opening weekend, it pulled in $5 million more than The Flash did in its opening weekend. Domestically, Indiana Jones made $60 million. That's crazy. It's Indiana Jones. It's Harrison Ford. It's Disney. It's Lucasfilm, right? No, $60 million. $60 million. That was it. Internationally, usually these movies are getting saved internationally. I mean, The Flash had over 100 million or something internationally in its opening weekend, which, you know, still 55 million is terrible, but it was decent. Transformers has a big international take. So internationally, where'd Indy fall? 70 million. 10 million more than it did domestically. I've never seen anything like that. That's crazy. It's crazy. But I'll tell you what, it's because the movie sucks. Because the movie sucks. Now, I don't know if it's opened everywhere internationally. I'm not sure. But 70 million internationally, 60 million domestically for a grand total opening weekend of $130 million for a franchise-ending movie. Literally ends the franchise. And I gotta be honest. So again, it's a mildly spoiler review. I'm not gonna go too much into it, but it's a time travel movie. They only travel back in time at the end. I don't care. I leaned over to my kid and I said, you know what will make this movie the best movie ever? If Indiana Jones goes back in time and has to fight dinosaurs. That wasn't the case. That was the only way it would have been saving the movie for me. But that wasn't the case. So the movie starts off and it's really good. And I mean, like off the bat, the de-aging stuff they did to Harrison Ford, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was like, damn, it felt like Indiana Jones in 1989 or some shit, right? I'm sitting there like, wow, okay. It really looked good. Yeah, it's at night and there's like, you know, there's some weird blurry fog issues. And I guess that's to cover up some of the imperfections. But overall, the visual looked good on Indiana Jones de-aging him. Really good. Then he started to talk. And nope, right off the bat, I was like, oh, God. Because you can hear 80-something-year-old Harrison Ford talking. Or however old Harrison Ford is. 70-something, early 80s, whatever. But you can hear the old man talking. And it did not make any sense. Like, it doesn't work. My brain couldn't comprehend it. I'm looking at young Harrison Ford. I'm looking at Indiana Jones right after The Last Crusade. And he sounds like his teeth are about to fall out because he has dentures. It was terrible. And I'm like, well, you know, and I don't know much about the AI shit. I don't, but I mean, with it being around, why couldn't they just kind of digitally alter his voice to kind of sound younger? I don't know. They should have done that. This was terrible. Oh, it was terrible. Oh, so anyway, they're in Nazi Germany, or they're in wherever they're at the end of the war. It's the end of the war, and they're looking for the spear of destiny, right? The spear that supposedly stabbed Jesus Christ. And the Nazis have it. Turns out it's a fake, but half of the dial of destiny is on board, and that's legit. Indy gets his hands on it, whatever. You know, it belongs in a museum. So does he. And yeah, then it cuts to 1969, whenever the moon landing happened, or where the first men on the moon or something. It was like around that time. And then the movie just falls off a cliff. And it was terrible. It was terrible. Sorry, I take a sip of my water. Indiana Jones, I don't understand why they do this. I really don't understand this. And I am not one of these people that get on and bash a movie before they see it because they've foreseen something. But I'm beginning to understand them. I'm not going to go full-blown crazy fucking entertainment geek Nazi. I'm not doing that. But I'm beginning to understand it, okay? I might have had my blinders on for a long time, but they're coming off. Because I can't. I hope this is the last Indiana Jones movie. I really do. I hope it is. Disney is fucking shit up. Indiana Jones, why is he like old, lonely, living in an apartment building, working at an institute that looks like it's like I can't even call it. It didn't even look like a legit college. It didn't even, like, what happened? That wasn't Indiana Jones. That's not where he was. That's not what, I mean, oh my God. Yes, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull kind of, like, moved him around a bit, but it was still focused more just on Indy and not, like, his home life or nothing like that. I mean, this was just, like, what? He's, like, slumming it. Indiana Jones, world famous archaeologist, the fucking action hero adventurer, slumming it. Look, I'm not saying that, you know, everything needs a happy ending, even though it got a happy ending. But at the same time, like, at the twilight of these characters' lives, could you stop ruining their lives up to this point? Disney. And I can't even blame Disney. I got, you know, it's Lucasfilm. We got to stop. We got to stop taking these dudes that, you know, people grew up with from the 80s and in the early 90s and then just ruining them. Oh, yeah, no, you know what happened? In between these movies, Luke Skywalker, he became a fucking dick and hated everybody. What? That's not, what? And I'm a crying fanboy, I am. And that's what it felt like with Indiana Jones. Now, this is probably the biggest spoiler. It's not even a spoiler, but people wanted to know, where's Shia LaBeouf? They talk about it right quick in the movie. They give one line and it was over. It was direct. It was perfect. He went to the Vietnam War against Indy's wishes and he died. And that's fucked up. That was kind of sad. But I don't think that makes, I don't think that would break Indiana Jones. I really don't think that would break him. You know, so it was just dumb. It was dumb. And then the girl was whack. I'm like, I didn't understand her. She was stupid. She's all over the place. Are you a good guy? Are you a bad guy? Are you a thief? Are you his goddaughter? Like, because you're real trifling. It was all over the place. Made no sense. Then oh my God. Then they brought in a kid, and I'm like, yeah, they're trying to do short round. It was stupid. What are you doing? Don't do that. Don't do that. It was bad. And it's not, again, I don't put the onus on the actors. I do not put the onus on the actors. They getting paid to act, okay? But the people creating this shit, no, it's your fault. It's like with Star Wars. I don't blame Daisy Ridley. I don't blame John Boyega. I absolutely love them in those movies, right? They acted their asses. They did what they had to do. You could see John Boyega at the end looked a little bit disenfranchised. I'll use that word again. He in Rise of Skywalker, you could tell it wasn't 100%. I mean, that's just the way I see it. But I never blamed them. That whole thing with Kelly Marie Tran in that second Star Wars sequel that was terrible, absolute garbage, worst Star Wars movie ever. I don't care. The Last Jedi. None of that shit was her fault. It's an actress getting paid to do a job. You blame the people making the movies. You blame the writers and the producers and the director, Rian Johnson. In this case, and I didn't know, I found this out after I seen the movie with Indiana Jones. There were so many rewrites and reshoots, and this movie was like going to be one thing and then turned into another thing that turned into another thing. And honestly, it's evident. You can see it. It's a jumbled mess. It sucks. There's like a 15-minute fucking chase sequence where Indiana Jones in this little three-wheeled cart going down the streets of Cairo or somewhere they're at, somewhere in Egypt. And it was fucking annoying. Like, it was irritating, gratingly irritating. I was like, this is dumb. Then seeing Harrison Ford, like, running, and I'm like, oh my God, any minute, this dude's legs are going to cave in. Like, his knees are going to blow out. It was hard to watch. It was hard to watch. And his Indiana Jones, it just didn't feel like Indiana Jones at all. And yes, chalk it up to him being an old man, but at the same time, then don't make another movie. There's no way. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. And don't even get me started on the whole bad guy of this movie, because he died. There's no way about that dude got murked in the beginning of the movie. He's on a train. I don't care. He's on a train. He wants the dial. Indy ain't going to give it to him. There's a scuffle. He's like off to the side of the train, and then one of those little train post things are coming up, and the train is going 3,000 miles an hour. And this dude just gets ripped off the train. He smashes into it, and that's the end of that. Yet there he is now in the present day of the movie, without a scratch, not even a peep. How did he survive? Nothing, not one word of it. And I'm like, what? Did he use the time machine? Because if he did, then this movie's pointless. But no, he's looking for the other piece. He wants his property back because he had it. Now he wants it back. That's the whole gist of the movie. And it's like, what? He must have died. He must have died and came back to life as a fucking super soldier or some shit, because he had special powers, apparently. This dude had the power of deduction. They're in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of nowhere in the ocean. There's no land masses around them. There's nothing there, in the middle of the ocean. And, Indy and the team, and it's not even Indy and the team, it's the girl and the team, because Indy takes a backseat in this movie. Complete backseat. It's not his movie, y'all. It's not. So don't let that shit fool you. That Lucasfilm and one Kathleen Kennedy disguising that shit as Indiana Jones because it's in the title. It's not his movie. It's the girl's movie. It is the girl's movie. And again, if the girl was a strong character like Indy back in the day, then this movie would have been all right. But again, you could see what was the writers trying to do with her. They don't know. They didn't know. Anyway, I digress. They're in the middle of the ocean. The girl and her crew, Indiana Jones and the kid, fake short round, they foil the bad guys and get away on their other boat, the bad guys' boat, right? So they leave the bad guys dead in the water, steal the bad guys' boat, and take off. And the dude has the binoculars, and he's looking, and he goes, they're heading west. Right? And okay, they're heading west. But there could be anything out west. But no, they just so happen to pop up exactly where Indiana Jones is. The same little city, same town. I was sitting there like, what? It's terrible. It was stupid. Like, the dude was always there. He was always there. Without any rhyme or reason, he was always there. It made no sense. It made no sense. I was so disappointed with this movie. It is fucking horrible. And then at the end, when they do get the thing to go back in time, they go back in time, and instead of going back to where the bad guy wanted to go, and was back to the end of the war because he was going to change something to make the Nazis win, they actually went back in time to this war for I forget because I checked out already, but basically it was like the Romans going against somebody, and the guy who created the Dial of Destiny, he was there. They go back to that time. So apparently you could only go through time to that time, to his time. And basically the whole gist of he created the dial because he needed help from the future. I mean, like, tell me about it. Like, I'm sitting there like, what? He needed help from the future. So there's Romans on their ships, and they're catapults and giant spears, and out comes two fucking, World War II era planes, and it was terrible. Indiana Jones gets shot before they even go back in time, and he still does all this crazy stuff. That wasn't even crazy, but it just made no sense. It just made no sense. I hated this movie. I absolutely hated this movie. It's the absolute worst Indiana Jones movie. I don't consider it an Indiana Jones movie, regardless of what the title says, because it's not Indiana Jones's movie. It's not. It's Homegirls. And even then, it's terrible. It's a terrible movie. And you know what? When people say that, when people just voice their honest opinions and say it's terrible, you get this backlash like, oh, no, you're just this or you're just that. And no. We got to stop gaslighting people. You got to stop gaslighting people. When a movie's bad, say a movie's bad. Straight up. Like I said, I know Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is not a good movie. I just so happen to enjoy it, right? But I can't argue to the people who are like it's a bad movie. I get it. There's no arguing here. This is a bad movie. This is a bad movie. It's terrible. Kills me. I love James Mangold as a director, but this ain't it. And God forbid he's going to make a Star Wars movie where they're going back and telling the story of the first time the Force was used. I don't want to see that. I have zero interest in that. Zero. I'm done. I am so done. I can't stand this shit. The best part of that movie, honestly, was the cup I got. The theater exclusive cup, and it comes with a little Indiana Jones hat that you put on the top for the topper. That was the best part of the movie. Otherwise, this movie sucked. There is one gag that I can't lie, I did laugh a bit about, and everybody knows Indiana Jones is afraid of snakes, and they're in the middle of the water in the ocean, and they go in the water, and there's eels in the water, so you see that's funny, because eels look like water snakes. Oh, they don't look like water snakes. I should rephrase that. There are water snakes. I've seen them. They're legit water snakes, but you can say they're like snakes in the water. I digress. It was funny. I thought that gag was funny, but the rest of it just was flat out terrible. And they killed Antonio Banderas. I don't care. Spoiler. That's my guy. I love Antonio Banderas. They killed him. I was definitely pissed off about that. So yeah, listen. 60 million domestically, 70 million internationally for a grand total of 130 million. Indiana Jones in the dial of disappointment. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. I hope to God this movie doesn't make any money. I don't even know what's coming out this week. It's 4th of July week. I have no idea what's coming out. But I do know Mission Impossible is next week. And that is going to take all the money because Tom Cruise apparently takes all the money. People love Tom Cruise. So, and Barbie's coming soon. That should actually be a fun movie. I'll be surprised if that makes no money. But man, the first half of June, man, it was like, okay. The last half of June, I'm like, wow, box office for The Flash, it's terrible. I loved it. But Indiana Jones, you deserve no money. I'm sorry. You deserve zero money. You're the worst. You're the absolute worst. Stop it, Lucasfilm. Stop it, Disney. Stop it. Sell it to somebody and just put it away. Put it in a museum. It's over, Prime. All right, before I go, I have to talk about this. Well, two things. First off, happy July 3rd. And for me, today is a fun day because in the fictional world of entertainment, today is the day that the Living Dead return. That's right. Return of the Living Dead, one of the greatest zombie movies of all time in kayfabe, that's wrestling for fake, happens today. So, kudos, eat brains, do you want to party? It's party time. I can't wait. I'm going to watch that tonight with the kid. It's an annual tradition, so I'm gearing up for that. All right, last topic, and I'm calling it quits. This weekend, Pluto TV dropped the Godzilla channel. And oh boy, I'm in love. I'm in love. I love it. They had so many Godzilla. I mean, like, they don't have all of them. They don't have Godzilla 85 / Return of Godzilla. They don't have Godzilla vs. Biollante. I don't think they have Shin Godzilla. But they have everything else. They don't have the legendary movies or anything that's on Netflix. But they have everything else. They got the entire Criterion collection that came in that beautiful box set. They've got Rodan. They've got War of the Gargantuas. They've got, I think, 2 versions of the original Mothra. They have the original Japanese language and then the American dub. They have Godzilla King of the Monsters 56, right? The American version of that. What else they have? I watched G2K yesterday, the American dub. I'm wondering if they're going to have the Japanese version. What else? Oh, I was watching last night when I came home from my friend's house, Godzilla X Mechagodzilla, the Kiryu Saga #1, and that was the English dub version, and it was actually pretty good. I was like, wow, I never would have guessed. I always only watch the Japanese. I like hearing the original voice track, audio track. What else they had? Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 93. Actually, that was Was it the first or the second movie I watched? No, I think that was the first movie I watched. Yep, it was. Because it was in my parents' house on Saturday, and my brother put it on, and damn, there was Mechagodzilla 93, Japanese dub. I was so happy. I was like, yes, dude. And I said, no, I watched it. I was supposed to be out there grilling because I was the pit master that day, but I was like, give me about 45 minutes. This movie's almost over. But I loved it. You know what it was? A channel dedicated to Godzilla. 24/7 Godzilla. Oh, they got the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy. I think the trilogy. I don't know if they're missing the first one. The second one was on. I remember seeing that. And I think Rebirth of Mothra 3 came on also. They're missing one out of the 3. But still, it's crazy. But to have a 24/7 Godzilla channel is mind-boggling to me. Now, granted, I own every single one of those movies I just ran off. I do. I own them. I own a couple of them multiple times. Because I got the VHS back in some of the Hesai days and the old Showa movies. I got VHS tapes. I got VHS tapes twice. I got the Japanese straight, no subtitles. Then I got the Japanese with subtitles. Then I got an American version. Then I got the DVDs. Then the Blu-rays came out. So I own these movies a lot. But to just be able to put the TV on and they're just playing, I love it. And it's random too. I don't know if they're doing any particular order. I think they just throw them out there and it's random. And that's cool. I know yesterday they were actually doing the Millennium things in order. Like I said, I watched G2K yesterday, the English dub. And then I went to a friend's house. And when I came home, Kiru was on. So that was cool. And then I passed out. But it's just awesome. And you know what it is? It's this nostalgic feeling because the commercial breaks, right? I loved as a kid watching Godzilla movies around Thanksgiving. And then sprinkled and peppered throughout the year. I go in the TV guide every week and I go right to the weekend and I'm looking. You know, because Channel 11, WPIX back in Brooklyn, you'd get Godzilla movies on there occasionally. It was like the creature features. There was always something cool on a Saturday after all the cartoons were said and done. So watching that when I was a kid, and you got to sit through the commercials, but you didn't care because it's like, I can't wait. I will watch this. I love Godzilla. Seeing it now, it was like a nostalgic feel, way more than Indiana Jones gave me. It was way better, best thing of the weekend. And I just was like, yeah, this is awesome. Now, granted, these commercial breaks are like 5-6 minutes long. I'm like, yo, what's up, man? This is crazy. Like 2.5, 3 minutes and we're good. Get back to the movie, right? No, these commercial breaks are like 5 minutes long. I don't mind. I didn't. I thought I would. I didn't. I'm still in. I'm all in, as a matter of fact. And yeah, I love it. If you're a Godzilla fan and you haven't checked it out, it's absolutely free. Just download the Pluto TV app. It's free. Download the app on your computer, your smart TV, your gaming consoles, your gaming PC rig, whatever, your phone, your tablet, your smartwatch. I don't know. I don't have a smartwatch. If you can download apps on it, I'm sure Pluto TV is one of them. Imagine watching Godzilla on your wrist. That's crazy. But just download it, open the app up, and then it gives you a guide, like a TV guide, and you just go down the list of channels, and then bam, there's Godzilla in a nice Godzilla font, the Godzilla channel. Click that sumbitch, and bam, you're in your glory. You're in your glory. Be prepared and watch all of them. Coming tomorrow, 4th of July, there's going to be a podcast just talking about that. Me and Gam, we're going to do it. So I'm going to leave it at that because I'm going to talk more about it during that podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Again, don't go see Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It is not good. I don't care. It's really, I'm trying to save y'all money. It's not good. Some people might like it and that's cool, but it's not a good movie, all right? The way Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is not a good movie and I like it, y'all gotta respect this movie is not a good movie. Don't go see it. Instead, download the Pluto app and watch the Godzilla channel. I am G1. This is the Geek Out. We out of here. Peace.